My father passed away when I was 10 months old. I was born in the United States of America in a little town called Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and when he passed away, my mom and I moved back to Canada, where my mom is from. From that point forward, my life path, what should have been, drastically changed. I should have had a very comfortable life. My father worked at Prudential. He became successful in his own right, even due to his poor historical familial past. But when we came back to Canada, I was now being raised by a single mom, who her herself had been raised by Serbian immigrant parents. To say we had a lot of money would be a complete and utter lie. We did not. But what made up for the lack of money was the amount of opportunities that my mom tried to present to me, even though we didn't have the money to support some of these dreams. And in a big way, TV, movies, and media motivated my own passions and desires in a way that money could never have. I remember a time I must have been about 5 years old. I was sitting on my mom's bed and I was watching Shark Tank. Yes, at 5 years old. I loved watching anything and everything I could get my hands on that wasn't meant for 5 year olds. And in this moment, I particularly remember watching Mr. Wonderful and thinking, that's exactly who I want to be like when I'm older. And although it seems silly now because most people don't love Mr. Wonderful, I did. And I became fascinated with the idea of entrepreneurship. Even at that young age, when I thought I was going to go into the sciences and become a theoretical physicist like Stephen Hawking, I thought about entrepreneurship and I thought about the autonomy and the freedom that it gives you. And more than anything, the power and catalyst it is to create a change in the world. So, as I grew older, I began researching many entrepreneurs, of course, including Mr. Wonderful, who went to Ivy Business School himself. And I learned their stories. I learned what motivated them. I learned what they did to make their money and to become successful. And I always thought I wanted to emulate that. And that is still my goal and desire to this day. As I grew older, though, my passions grew and they shifted, and they grew into many areas to create change. In grade 7, I began my volunteering with the bereaved families of Ontario, and this was due to my connection with my own father passing away. I went through the program when I was 5 years old myself, and I began volunteering in grade 7. And I've been volunteering since then in both Hamilton and now here in London, Ontario. And through this volunteer position, I've been able to see tons of marginalized groups and people who have lost family members, particularly parents, at such a young age, just as I had myself. And what I see in these groups is not a lack of motivation or drive, it's just a lack of opportunity that's presented to them. And more than anything, I want to create change in the world and give opportunities to those who might not have it, as I hadn't when I was younger myself. In grade 9, I entered Hillfield Strathallan College, which is a private school in Hamilton, Ontario. Again, you might remember we didn't have a ton of money, and that's still true. I actually received a scholarship called the Morgan Family Scholarship, which I had thought about for many years ahead, and I think proves some of my entrepreneurial spark and how I am quite an opportunist. I always wanted to go to private school because, again, of the opportunities, and I got in through the scholarship, which covered all of my tuition, my incidentals, trips, really anything you can imagine a name of it was paid for, and it was amazing 4 years of my life. And only one student per year receives that scholarship, and I worked very hard to get it. And while at Hillfield, I continued my passion for entrepreneurship and creating change. I became chapel prefect in grade 12, which was just me public speaking to an assembly every single week in front of the whole school. And I continued with my Model UN journey, which I still do today. I was just in New York City chairing a Model UN event. And this summer, I'll be all across the United States of America, both to Washington to LA, teaching Model UN to middle schoolers and high schoolers. I love entrepreneurship. I think it is a catalyst to create change. And more than anything, I think I'm an opportunist, as you can tell through this video and hopefully tell through my essays as well. And if you want to check out my LinkedIn, entrepreneurship is more than just creating a very amazing and company that creates a lot of money. More than anything, entrepreneurship is something that is a catalyst to create change, to create opportunity for those around you. And here's a quote from Peter Drucker. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Thank you.